oil magnate Tein appeared before the John Odige Oyegun-led screening panel earlier today ahead of his presidential bid. And joining us now in the studio is Isa Yaguda, who is the former governor of Bauchi State and the campaign director general for Jack Reach.
That's right, and thank you so much for joining us on News Night. Before we came on, I was just asking you, I mean, you really have to believe in Tein Jack Reach to be the Director General of his campaign, and I'm even more fascinated by the answer you gave. Let's take it from there, and then I'd like you to respond to the question of exactly how do you think what his chances are? What are his chances against, you know, I mean, big wigs like Tinubu, Amechi, Yahaya Bello? It's a long list. What are his chances?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The issue of, before I come to the issue of chances, we want to understand who is Jack Reach.
Right.
And he's somebody that is entirely different from the other candidates. And I have to be modest, but I need to tell you my own background. I was in the financial service industry. And I ended up as the MD of Nigeria's premier investment bank, that is now, before joining government.
Now Merchant Bank.
Yes, and I was appointed by Chief Obasanjo, and I served him for the first time in the Ministry of Transport as Minister of State, along with my late brother Ojo Madoki. And the second term, I was one of the three that was re-engaged by Chief Obasanjo, and I was posted to the Ministry of Aviation. And I believe I left my marks there, except that, you know, I'm not a noise maker, I'm not very much known by the press, but at least if you go back to those ministries, you will see my hands.
And that's exactly why
I asked of course, yes, I was also a governor for 8 years. So for me to come out and say, I am following a candidate, at least you should, to be fair to me, I should, if when it comes to writing appraisals of candidates for the presidency of the country, at least I should be considered. So why Jack Reach? In the first instance, he's from a very humble background. Secondly, somebody with a human heart, because you can appreciate the kind of interventions he has done as a philanthropist, providing water for people, providing food for people, building places of worship for people, both on the Muslim side and the Christian side. And when he started this, of course, he never thought that he was going to be in politics. So, and you can also appreciate that somebody is a man of knowledge. He speaks my language, language of finance. There's no candidate among the candidates that we have today that have the template, like the one he has when it comes to turn around of the Nigerian economy. All your candidates that come here will always be talking about problems, not solutions. And I've been in government, and I know how agonizing government can be. And I have seen somebody who can make the difference for their country. If other candidates will invite him and listen to him to make his presentation on what he thinks or what he is going to do to turn around the economy of Nigeria within the shortest possible time, if they have conscience, they will just withdraw from him and say, please, my brother.
What are some
you
of these
spoke about
things?
conscience and politicians in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Do they go in the same sentence? And you talk about his financial experience. He's an oil magnate. He's a philanthropist. But as a former governor, you also would appreciate that for someone who wants to rule Nigeria, you have to have a bit of politics in you, the experience of politics. What is his experience in politics? What motivated him to want to become the president of Nigeria?
Well, I don't know what you mean by experience. In fact, they say man is a political animal. Even in your home, you play politics. So it's a question that, look, I'm going to the school of politics and learn how to be a politician. No, my sister, that's not the way it is done. I was a banker, and I never thought I would be in politics. But today, you can see that I was very successful as a minister. I was on the quiet side. You know, we don't, bankers, we don't talk. You know, we won't listen than, you know, talking. And I ended up winning my elections as a governor, and I served for 8 years. So Jack is sufficiently experienced. This is a man who came out and he ran his own business, and he's making a lot of profits, And he's been interacting with people. He manages staff, he manages finance. And what's the big deal about managing a government office?
Managing the Nigerian economy?
Why?
Managing a country like Nigeria?
Of course, I'm talking to you about his capacities in terms of intellectual capacities, his background as a finance manager. And when he talks, you know, he's talking about, talks in a language that will convince you that he has the capacity to turn around an economy.
But can you help us understand clearly what are the specifics? In what way? Let's take the economy that you say he understands, you know, I mean, marvelously. How, in specific terms, will he fix Nigeria's economy? There is a debt profile that's over $80 billion. And I heard him say that he would not even take loans to fix Nigeria's infrastructure and all of that. Tell us the specifics.
Well, before going to the specifics, I want to just make you appreciate that Mr. President, President Buhari has done his best for the country. And apparently, he inherited a country bedeviled with a lot of problems. I was part of the government, and I know the problems. The insecurity was there, banditry was there, because I know I had settled over 20,000 families in Bauchi from Zamfara, and I had to challenge Boko Haram. Bauchi was one of the you know, biggest centers of Boko Haram, but by the Almighty God's grace, we were able to nip it in the bud. So another challenges that confronted him, of course, the economy was not doing very well. It went into a recession. And of course, he had to battle with that. If the economy was properly managed, I mean, he wouldn't have just fallen into a recession as soon as he came into government.
So how will Jack Rich fix it?
So I'm coming to that. So with
because
all
we
this,
don't have much time.
Yeah,
that's a challenge. I would like you to address.
But I would not
issues.
want to answer questions halfway, my sister. So we have to understand that yes, he has done his best, Mr. President, in terms of security, in terms of economy, and so on and so forth. But we have to find ourselves in a debt-trapped position. How will he get it out?
Yeah.
His economic, you know, blueprint, having, you know, he has a proposal to create jobs, and he has a proposal to increase, you know, oil production. He has also a proposal also to put some seed money into the lowest of the low to create purchasing power for them so that at least they will have buying power. So, and all other interventions that have to do with wealth creation, job creation, wealth creation, I think that will go a long way in, you know, making it possible for us to export more and then import less. So through that means, I believe he will be able to do that. And once he gets the economy fixed, as he's fixing it, these banditry issues, these Boko Haram, they are going to come down. Because the whole thing was triggered by, you know, absence of what to do.
It sounds like what everybody comes to that chair to tell us. I mean, fix the economy or fix the security.
It's not
it looks like we know the challenges and we know how to solve them, but nobody really speaking to specifics. Mr. Jack Rich said he would create 20.1 million jobs on the first day in office. How?
Well, I think when he says day one,
yes,
he's preparing once sworn in to let the you know, the engine starts. He starts the engine, immediately drop in. Because creating jobs, for instance, he can create that kind of numbers if he engages on certain interventions. Like, say for instance, getting close to maybe about 50,000 rural youth who are sufficiently educated to train them on how to spray, you know, use chemicals to spray insecticides, you know, pesticides, and then also fertilize, you know, the soils, bush clearing, and so on and so forth. So it's not rocket science to create, those kind of numbers. Immediately he comes in. Today you can envisage maybe, a huge project. He has, the intention of dredging the Niger and the Benue rivers. And it's also a job-creating, exercise. And by so doing, once he gets started, when people get to have an income, I don't think we'll have this problem. He starts solving some of the problems that are bedeviling the country today.
All right, back to the question of, whether he really stands a chance within his own party, the APC, against people like Tinubu, Amechi and the rest of them. And assuming that he does, pick the ticket, does he stand a chance against the PDP's Atiku?
Well, you have to understand one thing, and I would want to urge Nigerians to appreciate that enough is enough. For our children yet unborn, this country has to be fixed. Like I said earlier, if all the candidates sit down with him, from my own assessment, as experienced as I am and as old as I am, I want to believe that they should, if they really love Nigeria, they should say, we handsome for Jack Rich. So, the other candidates, the Amechis, I know Amechi very well. If I am to rate him, I will rate him very low. I was a governor along with him, and I have seen how he is, from what background of experience he coming from. Simply because he was a governor or speaker, then you just wake up as a governor, no finance, nothing, no international contacts. This is somebody who has, Jack Rich is highly connected internationally. And without international connections, I'm assuring you, Nigeria is dead on arrival.
How would you rate
Tinubu? So I have not finished that question, yes. So yes, Tinubu is a father to the nation. And of course, we have seen how he's done very, very well in Lagos, putting square pegs in square hole. But when it comes to age, this man is much younger.
Okay.
And of course, he has that advantage. And he's sufficiently educated to do precisely what Nigerians want. This is something I said, I want to make it very unique. Yes. If this man worked as a private sector man, created money, and is investing it in the lives of human beings in Nigeria, he sank over $500 million to invest in, the life so that people will survive. And none of the others have ever done that. He has a project in my state anyway. Nobody among the candidates has ever done that. And even against the PDP, what is there in the PDP? Yes, Atiku is our father, it's a high experience, but he doesn't have the age advantage of Jack. So you can see that there's a world of difference between him and them.
Former Governor Yaguda, before you go, today the president talked about a successor and speaking to the governors to allow him pick his successor. Is Jack Rich willing to step down for a consensus candidate, the president's own choice? Would he step down?
Well, I want to assure you that he is Mr. President's choice. He is Mr. President's choice because he cannot get anything better.
Great.
Malang Isa Yaguda, would want to assure you, I reassure Nigerians that this is the best Nigeria has ever had, and we should not miss this chance.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Isa Yaguda, former Bauchi governor.